for joining us. Hello, everyone watching. My name is Emcee Raven, and I'm going to be your host for this morning's Pop-Up Live. So, today we're going to be talking all about tools. Now, some of you might be thinking, what is a tool? Tools, all tools are inanimate objects that are used or modified to help solve a problem. There's a lot of different tools out there that exist, and I'm going to use my toolbox. Maybe some of you have a toolbox at home. Let's see what tools are inside of here. We've got our hammer. Any of you recognize or use a hammer at your house? We also have this tool. Anybody know what this tool is? This is a screwdriver. So those are some examples of some tools that people use. Now, for the longest time, people and scientists thought that only humans were the ones that really use tools in their day-to-day lives. However, recent studies, as early as back as the 1960s, have shown scientists that there are actually examples of animals that use tools. Now, they don't use the same tools that humans use, but they use what's in their environment, what's in nature, to do the same thing that humans do when they use tools, which is just using an inanimate object to do something and usually to solve a problem that they're having. So, as our host, I love all different types of shows, so today we're going to do a special different type of show virtually. We're going to do a game show! So, we're going to have a special Show What You Know game show that you can play right now as you're watching. Now, this game show is all going to be about matching. And we're going to be matching up our different types of tools to the animals that you think use these or have been recorded and noticed by scientists to use these. So, before we get started with our game, let's go over all of the animals. We're going to do 2 rounds of this game, so this is round number 1. Let's see what our first animals are. Anybody recognize what animal number 1 is? Any guesses? This is a chimpanzee. So animal number 1 is a chimpanzee. Animal number 2, any guesses to what this animal might be? This is a sea otter. So animal number 2 is a sea otter. Animal number 3, it's probably one I think a lot of you recognize, but in case you don't, animal number 3 is a dolphin. And animal number 4 is a little hard to see, but animal number 4 is actually a crow. And I have my crow co-host who is going to be helping me with this game. Say hello, co-host. Oh, thank you so much. I'm glad that you're on the show too. He's a family member of mine, but he's going to be helping me with this game show. So, number 4 is a crow. So one more time, we've got a chimpanzee, sea otter, dolphin, and crow. Now to the other side of me, we've got our examples of different types of tools that animals have used in nature. We've got a hook twig, marine sponges, ant dipping stick, and stones used as a hammer. So remember our hammer that I showed you earlier? This animal used stones in the same way that we use hammers. So, all your job is, while playing this game, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to look at our tools and to try to match them up with the animal or the animal number that you think belongs to them. So each of these tools only belong to one of the animals on this board. Let's see if you can figure out what animal that might be. And to give you some music, I'm going to do a parody version of a game show countdown song that's probably very familiar. Using my other special guests, we've got our humming hummingbirds. So our humming hummingbirds are going to hum a tune while you take a little bit of time to try to guess. You're welcome to try to guess and put your answers in the comments, or you can do this at home with a piece of paper or with your family members. So I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do and try to solve our first round. All right, hummingbirds, take it away. right, time's up for our first round of our game. Let's see the answers. And again, it's no problem if you get any of the answers wrong. This game is all for fun. So let's see what the answer for number 1 is. So which of our tools did you think a chimpanzee has been observed in nature to use? The answer is the ant dipping stick. So chimpanzees use a stick. They use a really long, flexible piece of a plant, and they'll dip it into an anthill. And what the ants will do, if you've ever seen ants walk around in nature, that's not going to stick up, but that's okay. You'll see that the ants like to crawl up and stuff. So the chimpanzees will stick the stick kind of as a probe, and the ants will crawl up the stick, and they'll use that to eat them. So that's the tool that chimpanzees use to help get their food. Now what about answer number 2? Which of these tools do you think a sea otter uses? The correct answer is stones used as a hammer. So, sea otters will take stones and they'll use them just like we use with hammers to use to open up their food that they like to eat too, like different types of clam shells and different types of seafood. So this is what sea otters use. They use stones as a hammer. That's the tool that they like to use. What about number 3? Which of these tools do you think a dolphin uses? Now, if you were any of my eagle-eyed watchers out there, might have noticed that the word marine is associated with the ocean. So the correct answer for the tools that a dolphin uses are marine sponges. They'll take sponges and they'll put them in their mouths, and they'll use them to kind of swipe the ocean sandy floor and uncover food that was hiding there. So dolphins use marine sponges to also catch their food. Which means that the only answer that is left is the hook twig. So all the hook twig is a regular type of twig or stick you might find in your yard, but our crows are very smart birds. Let me bring back my crow co-host. And they'll use the twig, and they'll put the twig in their beak, and it has a hook at the end of it, and they'll dive in, and they'll use it to help scoop up food that they're looking for. So all of our first answers were all tools that animals in nature use whenever they're trying to help them catch their food that they need to eat. Oh, my co-host is saying he's feeling a little bit hungry too. Well, hold on one second. We've got one more round that we have to play. One last round. So, for our second round, we're going to do a little bit of something a little different. So, these answers, these choices, are going to be choices that are used not just for eating food, because all tools don't have to just be for eating or trying to eat your food, right? Just like us, we might use knives and forks and kitchen utensils as tools, but that's not the only different types of tools that are out there. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you a couple more examples, and these examples are going to be for some other different types of tools that animals will use. So give me 1 second, let's switch out our animals. So let's say goodbye, chimpanzee. Thank you for being on our show. Goodbye, sea otter. Goodbye, dolphin. And goodbye, crow. Now we're going to bring up a couple of new choices. So, we're going to bring up our gorilla. We've got our gorilla. We're going to bring up our, let's see, which one? We'll do this one. We're going to bring up our octopus. This is our octopus. And we've got one more. We're going to bring out our elephant. So, I've got one more. We're going to also bring out an orangutan. So, one more time. For our second round, we've got our gorilla, elephant, octopus, and orangutan. And I actually have one more tool choice, which are whistle made from bundles of leaves. So one more time, our choices for round number 2. Water depth walking stick, protective coconut shell, branch fly swatter, and whistle made from leaf bundles. So, once again, we're going to have our hummingbird sing a transition song while you try to figure out the answers. See if you can match up these new tools with these new animals. All right, hummingbirds, take it away. Caw-caw-caw. 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 One more time, caw-caw-caw. 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 Thank you so much. Give our hummingbirds a round of applause. Thank you for providing some music for us while our friends out there play the game. But let's go over the final answers for our last round of our game. Let's match up our animals to our tools. So our first animal is our gorilla. Which of these tools do you all think gorillas have used in nature? The correct answer is a water-depth walking stick. So what is a water-depth walking stick, you might be wondering? So depth describes how deep water is. And a lot of gorillas live in the jungle and there are really deep spots of water, like pools or rivers. So they have to be really careful that they don't get hurt as they're crossing the river. So what gorillas have done is they'll take a long stick and the gorilla will stretch it out into the water and they'll use it to try to judge and gauge how deep the water is as it starts to wade in the ocean. Not only that, they can also have figured out how to use the stick to help prop them up, because sometimes bodies of water can have currents that can be really rough. So this just shows how smart so many of these animals that use tools are. They were able to do this all on their own. They figured out a way to keep them safe and to keep their other little younger family members safe too. Now what about the elephant? You might be thinking, well, what kind of tools does the elephant use? Let's see, the correct answer of what tool elephants have used is a branch fly swatter. Some of you out there might have fly swatters. You might have seen your parents use them to kind of brush away flies that are flying over the place. An elephant does the same thing, but they just use a branch. They pick up a branch from a tree and they hold it and they use that to swipe away any flies that are flying around their face, because a lot of elephants live in really hot and humid areas. So now, animal number 3, we have our octopus. So which of these do you think an octopus might use as a tool? The correct answer is a protective coconut shell. So octopuses will find coconuts that are left behind by humans on the bottom of the ocean floor, and they'll make their arms really stiff and rigid, and they'll grab these coconuts and they'll put them all over themselves, not only to hide, but as almost like protective armor. In fact, they've even seen octopuses ball themselves in and roll away, almost like a car, using these coconut shells. It's pretty cool, right? And our last answer that we've got to go over, our last animal, is we've got our orangutan. So our answer for our orangutan is a whistle from leaf bundles. Now, orangutans have something really cool they can do called a kiss squeak. It's a type of call that they make when they're feeling scared or upset or a predator is coming after them. So they'll take their lips and they'll kind of inhale some air and they make kind of a kissing sound. It's called a kiss squeak. I'm a bird, so I can't do it incredibly well, but I'm going to try it. It doesn't sound exactly like this. But let's see if you can make like a kissy sound noise like this. And they use this to try to scare off predators. Now, some orangutans they'll grab a whole bunch of leaves from the branches of trees, and they'll put the leaves in front of their mouth while they make this kiss squeak, and it makes the sound even louder. Some scientists actually say that they think that they use these leaves to lower the frequency. So it's a way to enhance the skills and abilities that they already have to protect themselves. So those were some examples of some cool tools that animals in nature have used. It just goes to show you that not just humans use tools, but other creatures use tools as well. And maybe it will inspire you to kind of come up with your own original cool tool designs just using things around your house and around nature. Well, that does it for me, my bird watchers. I hope that you had a great time with Emcee Raven this morning. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll see you again. Keep an eye out for all the cool stuff coming at Port Discovery. Thank you all so much.